Hello everybody, today is Monday, December 15th, and this is episode 13 of Vlogmas. I finally missed a day yesterday. I woke up kind of late, hung out with my husband, and then I had to log on to work at 1, and I worked until 8 o'clock, and then by then I was just tired. But I did manage to get a lot of stuff done in between classes. And what I was focusing on was making baby-safe items for a 2-day market that I have coming up this weekend. So I worked on some ducks, some octos, and a sea turtle. Starting with the ducks, I used the pattern by Amateur Hour that everybody else uses for the rubber ducks. I finished this one. This one still needs eyes and a bill. This is super easy. I was surprised by how simple this pattern was, but then when I finished it, I was like, it's a little bit too simple. It's really like a chicken with a head on it. And it's growing on me. The more I look at it, the more I'm like, okay, this isn't too bad. I made the eyes baby safe with some acrylic yarn, and then I used a different pattern for the bill. I am very partial to a rubber duck pattern by an author called Hookers Don't Bite. It is a very old blog post, probably like more than 10 years old. I can't remember exactly right now, but I love how that duck works up in acrylic yarn. And I sell a lot of them, and I put $10 on it because the pattern has a little bit more to it than this one does. I think I'm gonna put 8 on this one, even though it's a lot bigger. But I did use the instructions for the duck lips on the Hookers Don't Bite pattern, and I really like the result. So yeah, at first I was like, why are these so popular? And then the more I look at it, I'm like, yeah, okay, and it is very fast. So the second thing that I worked on, because I don't have that many, and I definitely don't have any baby safe ones, are octos. I use the Sweet Softies 20-minute octopus squish pattern. That is my go-to. So if I have talked about this before and you've heard me talk about it before, it's because I've done it before. I made 2 in this color. And if I haven't mentioned it, I did all of the ducks and all of the octos in Sweet Snuggles. I have a whole bunch of these variegated ones. I don't have any solid. And I think I need to go get some to make something to use up all these scraps now that I have. But the only thing that I do differently with the Sweet Softies pattern is the pattern calls for chaining out 4 and then a slip stitch and single crochet back up. I actually chain out 10 to make a longer tentacle, and I really like the result that that gives. I think that is super cute. So I did 2 in this color, and I did a third one in this color. Now for this one, I wanted to change up the eyes a little bit because the more I was looking at these eyes, I'm like, they're kind of droopy looking and a little bit too like almond shaped. I wanted some rounder eyes. So I stumbled across a blog post by Not Bad. These were very quick to make, but because there are 3 colors, it was just a lot of like tails to hide, and it probably took longer just to like sew them on and to hide all the tails than it would take to just like embroider them on directly. But I do think these are cute. And I like that the pattern had a left eye and a right eye. I'm a really big fan of Not Bad. I highly suggest following him on Instagram. I don't know if he's still there, but for a while he was showing content of him giving free crochet classes outside of an ICE detention center in Portland, Oregon, and is very angry about what's going on right now. And I always feel really bad for liking his posts and his reels. And then I kind of always feel like I need to comment, like, I'm not liking it because I like what you're saying. I'm just as angry as you are. I'm supporting you with my like here. And so like seriously, like check him out on Instagram. And I didn't know he had a blog. I've seen both free and paid patterns from him as well. Big fan over here on the East Coast. So I made 2 ducks. This is a lot for yesterday and then this morning. 3 octos, and then the last thing that I made is my go-to sea turtle. So if you've heard me talk about this before, I think this is maybe the 4th one that I've made, and all 3 sold. I really like this pattern, and it's free on Ribbler. I think it's called Baubles and Barbells, and I don't remember if this is the large or the small sea turtle, but it's easy to find. Really like how it turns out. I mean, and it's completely no-sew. I mean, of course, you got to make the head and the forefins and the tail, but it's completely no-sew. I get confused every single time on how to do the frill. So what I did this time was, once I was finished sewing up the body, I just went in and put 2 single crochets into each stitch in the last round of the body, and I'm happy with the result. I think this is the first one that I've made that's baby safe. So I'm excited to see if this one sells. Definitely going to make more of these because these move. People love them. And if you're wondering why I'm not in a hoodie, I'm actually on my way to a job interview. I got ready and then I still had like an hour before I needed to leave. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and jump on and film something. Good evening, everyone. That was a pretty intense interview earlier and I had a few classes to teach, but in between all of that, I kind of went in another direction than all the baby safe stuff that I'm hoping to do this week, because so many people are making the Dr. Choco Dragon and it popped up on All From Jade's advent calendar. So I was curious, and I am this far. It looks like a snake with a head and bobble feet right now. I am really curious to see how this will look once... Oh, I made the ears. And so I still need to make the wings and the spikes, but that sounds like great content for tomorrow. See you then.